Welcome in, guys. Thanks for tuning into another weekly video from Leopard Trading. I really appreciate all of the support you guys are pouring into this. I'm getting the numbers have been pretty good. I've got a lot of great DMs from people that appreciate these, so I'm hoping we can try to keep them up. So with that said, this week in turn, it's Sunday night here in Florida, and you guys have seen the futures are looking pretty red so far. I think that's based on a lot of the COVID news coming out of China and the Chinese Apple plant, I believe it was getting stormed by rioters and whatnot. So I think that's giving us a little downturn in the MNQs right now. They are starting to see a little bounce here. They're only down like 0.75, but I do think it's time for these markets to sell off, and let me show you why. Let's get into the charts. All right, so getting into it, we have QQQ. You guys know MQQQ. I trade this the most. So getting into it, you see we're still in a downtrend. Downtrend is nowhere close to being broke right now. We're 14, $15 away from it. We are sitting on some fair value gaps here, but they're so small. I don't think they're going to be that relevant. We might chop a day or two and eventually slice through them. You'll see Friday low volume day, so it's really hard to judge. But we did close with this spinning top inside of this green candle from Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, which otherwise is known as a bearish harami, which is usually a short-term bearish signal. So it's a bearish signal, but even on the daily, you're usually going to see some downturn. And then you guys know I love my divergences, so you'll see we kept pushing higher and higher and higher while we had a decline in volume. I'll give Friday to the bulls because you can't really say it because the volume was so low because it's obviously the day after Thanksgiving. People still full, nobody really trading, but I mean, people are still putting like the money managers and stuff. They're still putting their orders in, so I mean, there's still that to be accounted for. You will see on the daily on the Qs, our stochastics are starting to cross under, as well as from here to here, we have our stochastics higher. However, here we had a higher high on there with a higher high on our CCI and our stochastics. So that it also gives us that bearish divergence, bearish divergence. I don't know why that's not working, but we all know it before on a longer term play. That usually means we get at least a good few days to a week or two of some nice downturn in the market. We're currently sitting in some March QQQ, I think 250 puts, just slowly waiting them out. We started to get into them last week around 286, 287. We average down at 290 because we kind of we seen this coming. So that's pretty much it on the Qs. I do want to show you the QQQ. Where is it here? The QQQ weekly. I showed you guys this week how you see we have all these inverses right here that send us into new ones. It's actually looking like we're setting up to start up that next trade, and this is like my biggest indicator that says we're going to go lower now because I use the 50-day EMA on the daily chart for my weekly chart, if that makes sense. And you'll see we had a nice rejection here. We did get above it here. It did reject here, but you will see that bearish Rami again from last week is starting to maybe give us a nice little downturn down. So like I said, I think eventually we're gonna see we're gonna retest those monthly the monthly I'm sorry the 52 week low down near that 254 level on the Qs. Like I said, the 20-day short term. I do want to show you the short term on the Q daily. I do. You guys know we still have that from CPI. We had that gap up, this very large gap up from 268. So we're gonna hold our 260. We're gonna hold our March puts until we start to close that gap because we know 90% of gaps fill, and then once those gaps fill, there's a 90% chance of reversal as well. So we will be holding them at least till 275 or so and start to scale out, then hold some runners into the gap and then let go of them, and then we will re-evaluate from there. So on the SPYs, I do want to show you, like I said, as I've been preaching time and time again, We that 705 has been very tough for the spies throughout every bear market rally we've had so far. It's never got above it. It's looking like it's falling short right now. I did see on Friday, I believe there was 2,600 lots on ES sitting at 410. That puts SPY around 409, 410 area, but I don't think we're going to get there as the markets are showing that they're already overbought and they're looking for some relief here. So eventually, I think yeah, I think this week SPY is going to come back, test that 380 area, which would be about the bottom of this of the gap up from CPI. So I think it may not be this week it fills, but if in the next week or two, I think we're headed straight back down to fill that gap. And then it would on the Qs it would be that 268 gap. Same thing as the Qs. We have bearish divergence with lower volume on the on SPY. Our stochastic starting to cross over. It's already in that overbought zone, and the same thing on the CCI. We have higher highs with a lower CCI, which points us into a bearish divergence. And we all know every time it's most likely that we're coming back down. You guys know that I love my 2-hour regressions. It is interesting. The 4-hour is only halfway up there. Usually, the 4 hours up in this area when I'm starting to get really bearish and starting to say it's coming down. So it's a little different position here. But like I said, look where this 4 hour takes us back down in the regression channel, back down to 270. Our gap fills 268. So even if we fall out of the channel a little bit, gaps filled, and now we'll look to maybe grab some short-term calls for the nice little bounce back up. It is interesting to note the 2 hour is actually even below my half line on the regression here, but like I said, look at that. And the 2 hour would have to fall a lot, so I am monitoring this a little bit, but we will see what happens and keep an eye on it. But like I said, same thing here. Stochastics are down, CCI is lower low or lower low on a lower high. I'm sorry, as price kept going up. I do want to show you guys one more thing. Just the VIX weekly. VIX weekly still looking. It's very interesting to note. We've got a nice little uptrend here, and you'll notice every time all these VIX downwards are all about the same length, and we're all right here in this trend line, and it looks like VIX is ready to start to head back up.